Hello friends, it's Mrs. Jane on Fun Day Monday, October the 5th, 2020, with all the fantastic news you can use about our fantastic day at school. And so, how did it go? It was a great day. We started with our usual temperature check with our Mrs. Ann before climbing down those stairs, entering the classroom for our arrival routine, where we hung up our own backpacks and we put our folders in the box. We sanitized our hands. We signed in with our t-shirts and then trotted off to those tabletop activities. Speaking of which, today on the tabletops, starting with table 1, we did some work with our names again. We had our sorting mat, and we sorted letters that were in our name and letters that were not in our name. We also did some tracing left to right. This time we used crayons to color the line to the crayons. There's a couple of different colors, and certainly going left to right, and some were wavy lines and jagged lines. But again, it's all working towards that better pencil grasp, and then also our eyes tracking the paper left to right and top to bottom. On table number 2 today, in the math side of things, we were all working with our dice, and then also with crayons again. We had little rubber ones this time. You rolled the dice, and these were the number dice, so you just looked at that number, and that's how many crayons you put in your cup. See how we did that one? We added a little letter C to the counting, and then worked math and literacy together. On table number 3, and this was a fan favorite, we were actually working towards a better pencil grasp again, or better use of our hands, hand strengthening. And this time we took some of those pinchy clothespins and we just added them to a yellow paper plate. We went all around the rim of the yellow paper plate to see how many we could fit on there. And I think some of us had 23, one of us had 41, somebody else had 20, 30, 49 was the top score there. But it was very good for that fine motor pinching, as well as then a little bit of counting as well. Of course, we had our rainbow tracing of letter B to close out letter B today. Plenty of yellow Play-Doh, and then we headed off to the Rock-A-Motion Choo-Choo line. Once there, we started our new letter C, and just so that you know, the company line, the sound of C is k, k, k. We feel that air in kind of the middle of our mouths, right up there at the roof of our mouth. And we added quite a few letters to our C list today before we all went into our hello circle. Once there, we introduced our person of the day. We modeled the rules for the day, those stay safe rules. And then we said the pledge to the flag. We heard our good morning song, our attendance report, our weather report. We sang goodbye to letter B. We sang hello to letter C. And then we did a little bopping until we dropped before starting our small group meetings. And so for those on the art side of things, we decorated another leaf. And this time, I know you're going to think this is a little bit silly, but again, it brought in that letter C. We painted our leaves with yellow and red paint using cars. Doesn't that sound like fun? Yeah. We had a paper plate with our 2 colors of paint. We rolled the car back and forth in the paint and then rolled the car back and forth on our leaves. And they came out a very interesting fall color. Stay tuned for those on our wall in the corridor. Now I know that we told you to take a look in the corridor for last week's leaves that we made with the magic fold and rubbing the 2 sides together. But those came home in the backpacks today, as you already probably saw. On the literacy side of things, starting with our ABC song, and then a little play with letter C. First, we noticed that if we use our empty hand, we can take a C with us wherever we go. Yeah, try that sometime. And then we headed off to be crawling caterpillars. And that meant that we did a little obstacle course with crawling. So first we crawled over the beanbag chair, and then we crawled in and out of the hula hoops. Then we crawled through the tunnel, over the stool, on the balance beam, before heading into the castle for a little rest. until our next friend came by, and we went back to our number square and had a second turn. After that, of course, it was time for us to take a little break. So we headed to the necessary room, followed by a little free read in the library, and then our delicious snacks. Today for center time, the hit of the center time, of course, would have to be the castles. We have a Batman castle. We have the typical medieval castles. We have a couple of princess castles. And it seemed that everyone collected around the castles, and very few ventured away to housekeeping or to blocks today, or even to our cars and vehicles. A couple of people did take a little ride, though. Before that we headed to our, believe it or not, our goodbye circle. Our minutes went very quickly today. In our goodbye circle, we saw an interesting show and tell. And then we picked the next lucky ducky to take home our classroom book. We sang a little goodbye song and then headed off to you to start the rest of our day. Parents, a couple of public service announcements, customer service announcements, remembering, of course, that we'll stick with color yellow for the rest of this week. Letter C, keep brainstorming those C words. We want our list to get as big as it can get. Remembering that tomorrow night is toy cleaning. That's a 7 p.m. arrival. We'll have a sheet of instructions for you on which things need to be cleaned. And I believe it's the Cassert family and the McLean family, remember, that are going to be taking their turn this time. Also, just in case this isn't clear, we need to have our paint smocks taken home. So perhaps either Cassert's or McLean's, you could decide who would be best to take them home, wash them, and then send them back to us for Wednesday, for use on Wednesday. We'd really appreciate that. And remember, picture day next Wednesday, the 14th. The information should have come home today in backpacks, moms and dads, if you'd like to order those. But remember, you don't have to schedule a time for that as a Fantastic Four, because it will happen on our class day, and we'll just take the kids out one at a time for their photos. And we hope we're going to see everybody at Kalkenberg Farm this coming Thursday, either the 10 o'clock slot or the 10:30 slot. And I think that just about does it for us today. We hope that you have a lovely evening. And remember, it's always a good day to have a good day at Jack and Jill. Talk to you soon. Bye now.